Whenever the transfer window flings open, there are a bunch of players who try to force moves out of their clubs through whatever means. Some keep it calm and respectful, while others take it to the extreme. Last summer, we saw Alexander Isak stop coming into training in order to force a move out of Newcastle.
Newcastle's stance throughout, as we've always said, has been that they are not looking to sell Alexander Isak, and they're in a position of contractual strength.
And he eventually got his move to Liverpool.
Alexander Isak is officially a Liverpool player. Alexander Isak is Liverpool's new number 9.
We also saw Marc Guéhi tell Crystal Palace he wanted to leave to go join Liverpool, but the whole thing ended up getting blocked at the very last second.
Crystal Palace captain Marc Guéhi has told the club he doesn't want to sign a new contract and will leave next year.
Well, this year nothing has changed. As always, there are a few players who are taking all sorts of measures in order to force moves out of their clubs, and it is those guys we are here to talk about today. These are 7 players who desperately want to leave their clubs. We'll start with Julian Alvarez. He has been one of the hottest topics of the summer so far. Real Madrid and Barcelona have already put in really heavy bids for him, and he has also been monitored by the likes of PSG and Arsenal. Atleti, meanwhile, want to keep him by all means, and have even taken offence to the bid sent in by their Spanish rivals. While the club has been getting into fights with other clubs over their best player, the man himself was out there saying that he has already told the club that he wants to leave to go elsewhere and fulfill his dream, and he believes it is the best solution for all parties involved. And he didn't even wait until after the World Cup to say this. He made this statement right in the middle of the tournament, like he is so desperate to get out. Alvarez only just moved to Atleti in 2024, but after 2 trophyless seasons, he seems to now be desperate for an exit.
Very much a new twist. It's the first time we've heard Julian Alvarez say officially he wants out, Alex.
Considering multiple top clubs are ready to put a very significant amount on the table, it seems like Atleti would be smart to just take that money and let him go this summer, especially considering he no longer wants to stay. And this is actually a very similar story to that of Jan Diomande. The teenager only just moved to RB Leipzig last summer, but in just 1 year, he absolutely blew up.
I was born in Abidjan. We have a lot of passion for football there. We like football a lot.
His dribbling, creation, ball carrying, and goal scoring in the German Bundesliga turned him into an overnight sensation, and now he is one of the most sought-after attackers on the market. A number of clubs have expressed real interest in him, but RB Leipzig aren't ready to let him go just yet. They want him to stay at least 1 more year, and they will do anything to keep him. I mean, they literally already turned down a €100 million bid from Liverpool for the player, but the Ivorian winger has insisted on leaving the club right now. He talked about how his dream has always been to play for PSG, and now that they've shown interest in him, he wants out of Leipzig ASAP. In fact, he has already reached an agreement with PSG, and everyone is now just waiting for Leipzig to reach an agreement with the French giants so the transfer can be completed. At this point, it seems like only a matter of time before the deal is done, because it is just so obvious that Diomande no longer wants to stay. Another player who no longer wants to stay at his club is Rafael Leão. But before we talk about him, if you aren't yet subscribed to the channel, now is a perfect time to go do that, so you never miss out on our amazing content. Done? Okay, back to the video. In Leão's case, it seems like the player has in fact already taken matters into his own hands. Despite still having 2 years left on his contract, Leão has gone ahead to say goodbye to AC Milan, declaring that he is ready to try a new chapter in his career. He wasn't very happy with the tactical system the coach implemented in the just completed season, and he believes that his talent will be better valued in the Premier League or La Liga. The Portugal international desperately wants to leave, and this time the club is not standing in his way. Both parties are just looking for the best solution right now. Reports say that Saudi clubs are already showing real interest in the 27-year-old winger, but he is still holding out for European clubs. Leão even recently changed his agent as he looks to land a big move this summer. Elsewhere, it is Bruno Guimarães who is desperate to leave Newcastle. Mikel Arteta has shown real interest in the Brazilian midfielder, and the player himself is eager to make the move.
Bruno Guimarães currently plays for Newcastle. He could be leaving, though, to Arsenal.
But of course, Newcastle don't want him to leave, especially after they just lost Tonali. So far, they have already rejected 2 bids from the Premier League champions, and the thing with this one is that the Magpies have all the leverage because Bruno still has 2 years left on his contract. However, the captain has already informed the club that he wants to leave and join Arsenal. but he assured them that he won't be creating any issues like Isak did last year, so he is leaving everything in the hands of the club. Reports say that if Arsenal come forward with a new offer closer to £90 million, then a conversation could be had. But until then, Newcastle will continue to reject bids and block the move. Another Premier League midfielder who desperately wants to leave his club is Enzo Fernandez. It was clear from his interviews and body language towards the end of the season. But not only does he want to leave Chelsea, he specifically wants to join Real Madrid. But this one is very interesting because Chelsea is actually willing to let him go, provided there's a really good offer on the table for him. However, Real Madrid have since released a statement saying that they are not interested in the Argentine midfielder and have never made a real move for him. That was quite embarrassing for the World Cup winner, to be honest. Anyway, it is now looking like despite his desire to leave so badly, Enzo Fernandez will very likely end up staying at Chelsea for another season at least. Madrid don't want him. City already broke the bank for Elliot Anderson. PSG have a perfect midfield, and there's simply no other club in Europe that can afford him. And he's not even the only player who wants to leave Chelsea this summer. Second choice goalkeeper Philip Jurgensen has also asked to leave the club. The 24-year-old former Villarreal man wants to play more, and he believes that he just won't get more playing time at Chelsea, so he's looking to move on from the club. In fact, he wanted a transfer in the January window, but he ended up staying and went on to play a few matches under Liam Rosenior, which might have got him feeling a little hopeful. In the end, it was established that Robert Sanchez is the club's number one and will be for the near future, so Jurgensen now desperately wants out. Finally, Lucas Bergvall desperately wants out of Spurs, and he has made it clear already. It makes sense that a midfielder wants to leave the club seeing how much has been spent on new midfielders in recent weeks, but apparently the 20-year-old Sweden international had already informed the club of his desire to leave before any of the Tonali and Fernandes deals became official. The club, however, still wants to keep him. They believe in him, and in spite of the midfield reinforcements, the coach thinks that there is still a place for the youngster in the team. Also, having already lost Luka Vuskovic to Brighton, Spurs don't want to lose another young player who could potentially turn into a superstar in the near future, so they are trying to do everything to convince Bergvall to stay. But reports say that the player has only doubled down on his desire to leave. So far, Aston Villa and Nottingham Forest have shown interest in him, so right now, it seems like it is just a waiting game. Is he going to leave, or will Spurs manage to convince him to change his mind and stay? If he does leave, which club is he going to join? We'll just have to wait and see. Anyway, it is now time to hear from you guys. Do you know of more players who are desperate to leave their clubs this summer? Drop their names in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Also, turn on the bell notification so you never miss out on new content. Catch you in the next one. Bye.